So who here cosplays outside of the one person in purple? You're like, not me at all. Really? Just two people? Are we shy? Are we closeted? Okay. What do you cosplay, sir? Do you have any questions? Because we totally have probably tried and ran into every problem you're probably ever going to come across. Well, most people will start by, obviously you choose the character you like or want to portray, and most will start with found objects. You'll find a shirt online that it resembles something that you need, and you can modify it with a sewing machine. Or what character in specifics? I can be a little bit more detailed.
Well, I was making some, I made an assembly outfit.
Oh, I saw you earlier. You were talking about your jewels, yeah. That sounds dirty.
Yeah, you were at a vendor booth showing off your Infinity Gauntlet.
What did you adhere it with? The glove is leather, yes?
No.
It's not leather? Okay, so it's cotton. Anything that's going to be moving, any kind of fabric, especially leather, you're going to want to score the material using some sandpaper, and then use a silicone-based adhesive. Like E6000 is amazing, and it dries clear. So when you move and the fabric moves, it will also give a little bit, and you will not lose the hard bits that you glued to your costume. See? We've done this before. And are you trying to make the rest of the costume as well?
Well, I was going to Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
Well, eventually, just up the state.
Mm-hmm.
How would one say go about constructing, say, an ad or some kind of ad or almost?
Well, the easiest way that you could start, you would want to work with something that is actually shaped like your head, and people can do that one of two ways. You can do the really basic way, which is the styrofoam head, which tends to be smaller and not exactly sized like your head. All of our heads are different sizes. Some are bigger than others. I'm inappropriate a lot. And the other way would be to do a paper mache mold of your head and then reinforce it, and then you can build from that. Now, if you're going to make something that you want to custom sculpt, people build with clay. Some people use, and then do mold from the clay and actually build it out of plastic. But that would be that'd be a little bit more advanced. But there are plenty of tutorials online. If you use Google, just Google how to make a helmet. And the stuff that comes out, you can take bits and pieces, and it ends up working out really well. It's all trial and error.
Are you, wow, I'm way hotter than you.
Yes, you are.
Well, my mic is way hotter.
Hi and welcome, new people.
Come on in, guys, don't be shy. That door will hold itself up. You don't need to. All right. Are you going for a classic Thanos? Right, the purple P, explosive consonant. Are you going for the skull cap with the gold kind of eyebrow crowning? Okay, so what you might want to try is fabric, going with fabric, and using a pre-molded face, like you can get at like a Michael's or something like that, where it's kind of like a blank white face. It kind of looks like a ghostly mime face. It's like a plastic shell of a face, and you can cut that off at the eyebrow and put that underneath the fabric. So you'll make the fabric hood that will cover your head, sit on your head. You put that in the front of your eyebrow and your forehead, so it gives you some structure to your mask. And then you can attach your gold crown piece on the outside of the fabric of the gold eyebrow there, and build it from there.
So it becomes a weight-bearing, like a weight-bearing device. So it doesn't, then you can actually build behind it with some foam to make it a little bit more comfortable if that's something that you want to do.
Exactly, and then if you want to go, either you want to do makeup, on yourself, or if you want to go to a local costume shop and you find a mask that looks something like, you know, a wrinkled old man with a butt chin, because he's got that weird butt chin thing going, and paint it to his kind of violent purple color, or what Thanos is. And if you're gonna get like crazy, you can get contacts and, you know, go full tilt boogie. But that guy's like huge, man. He's like 8 foot tall and big as a truck, dude. I mean, I'm not saying you're not a big dude, but that's pretty ambitious. I take my hat off to you.
You gotta start somewhere. My first costume, I'm actually ashamed to say, even though the costume was amazing and it had a lot of leather work, it was the movie version of Catwoman, the Halle Berry version. Yeah, I know, I'm seeing a lot of why. I really loved the idea of learning to use a bullwhip with my costume, because I like to be as detail-oriented as possible, and I love female empowerment. I really like strong female characters. So again, I don't know why I want a movie version of Catwoman, but doing it over again, I would probably go purple route, the purple classic. But again, learning to use a 10-foot Australian bullwhip was just something that, even if my costume wasn't like God tier, I could crack a 10-foot Australian bullwhip with both hands, and that would wake up just about anyone, so.
It's pretty badass to see.
It's all about the details.
Come on in, don't be shy. We're having a cosplay battle.
Yay, costume!
Language barrier just stepped in.
Yay, costume!
So that wasn't exactly your first costumed appearance, though. That wasn't your first costume you made, but it wasn't your first costumed appearance.
I hate you.
What again was your first paid costumed appearance?
I was Hello Kitty.
She was Hello Kitty in a Hello Kitty mask out with the big old Hello Kitty head. I got photos to prove it. He does,
and I'm so glad that we don't have one of those screens here, because he'd find a way to put it
I'd be
right
like,
now.
hey, check out Hello Kitty.
Hey, we all have to start somewhere. Jesus. Well, does anybody have any questions whatsoever, or, I mean, otherwise we're just going to keep telling ridiculous,
you guys are so far
stories.
away.
We have a question up front.
Come on over, yeah. Come on, Riddler. Riddle me a question. Why are you late?
What type of armor are you trying to make?
Not necessarily armor, I mean...
Oh, she asked armor. Did you ask armor too?
No.
We have dueling armor.
Who asked? Okay, Squiddy. Who asked the armor question? Okay.
I apologize. Okay.
Alright, so the question is, if I want to make Nightingale armor from Skyrim, what would be a good way to go about that? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the armor you get when you finish the Thieves Guild. Yeah. Oh, I love that. I wear it.
Yeah, he went Thieves Guild. I went, like, the magic route, so he may be better to feel.
So, with something like that, I would go leather, like try to do a leather wet mold.
Do you have a Tandy leather, or do you have access to leather, like raw leather? No? Okay. The easiest, here would be my easiest route would be, yes.
Where we live, there's a store called Tandy Leather. It's like a Michael's, which is a craft store, but it deals specifically with leather punches, leather dyeing. You can get big sheets of leather as big as this table for like whatever amount of money. Different kinds, soft, hard. It's really, really great if you're trying to make costumes out of leather, because you can get it, you know, relatively inexpensive and then do all the work yourself. But
an easier route that may be something that's a little bit more cost-effective and maybe within skill range, because again, not everybody can drop, you know, $200 on raw leather. Would be to do a paper mache base. Like if you want to start with the cauldron, you would take paper mache, put it on your skin, get it to, you know, wet, put it on some layers, let it dry. It will get a little warm, so please be careful and don't actually burn yourself with the chemical process of that. You can put saran wrap on your skin beforehand to kind of give you an extra layer of protection. And once it hardens enough where you can take it off, and you're going to add more layers to it. And then I think it's hodgepodge, which you can get at Hobby Lobby. That's actually sandable, so you can build up from there. Sand it down to give it a smooth area. You can actually sculpt into it with a Dremel if you'd like. and then you can put clear coat on it, tech it. Thank you, I'm collecting hair. You can tech it with, different painting methods, sand it, make it look battle damaged, and then add your last coats and protect those colored teching things that you've done to it. And I would just kind of go from there. You can do that with your forearm and just build, because I'm not 100% familiar with the armor. I did see him play a little, but
it's kind of like your underworld corset.
So yeah, leather really.
It's really form-fitting leather.
And then you can start with, if that's the case, a matte PVC bodysuit. And you can buy those online, pretty much prefabbed, and use that as the base set because it does resemble leather. And it's an affordable alternative to trying to get a full leather suit, because then there's mobility issues. You just can't sit down. If it fits properly, even with gussets for movement, you will do what's called the leather lean all day.
Since I know the costume you're talking about, what I would do is get something like, get a suit, like she's talking about, a pre-made bodysuit. It's a little larger than what you are, maybe a size and a half larger. And then you can build all those, little intricate layers underneath the costume and sew it in on the underside so it has that neat ornamentation. And then as you suck that up and glue it and pull it, it'll actually start to shrink down to your size, and all that stuff will live underneath the costume, but on the top it'll look like it's all that ornate leather work and whatnot. You know exactly what I'm talking about? Yeah, I think that'd be the way to go for starting out.
And also a big tip for costumes, because I know about, some of y'all are wearing costumes in here. We can't always wash our costumes, and they do start to stink after a while if you wear them a lot. No, not Febreze, because Febreze smells terrible. And
no Febreze.
There's nothing worse than having you're this amazing costume and it smells like Febreze, which is still better than Confunk. But for those of you that are of age, the best odor-fighting thing that we have is go buy the cheapest vodka you can, pop off. In that plastic container, you can get like a handle for 25 cents, it's ridiculous. Put it in a spray bottle, turn your costume inside out, and spray it directly on the inside of your costume. Let it dry. It totally takes all scent away. The best costuming tip ever.
We do that in the film and television business all the time. It's like an old trick. But you want to get cheap vodka because no one wants to drink it. It tastes terrible. And that keeps your crew from drinking your working materials.
So does anybody else have any questions? Anyone Bueller?
Who has a question? I have an answer. Guaranteed. Yeah.
What's one costume you guys
42.
42 is not an answer. That's the answer to life. Let's see.
Yeah, we have some Douglas Adams fans here. My favorite costume?
That was the funnest for you.
The funnest or my...
I know mine. Mine is, I have an armored Alex Ross Wonder Woman, and it was one of my earlier costumes, and it's actually 10 gauge rolled brass. It's, I'm basically a Cuisinart on legs though at that point, because I'm very pointy and sharp, and people like to try to give me their small children to take photos with, and I can't tell you how many times I'm standing here in armor, and I can't put my arms straight out in front of me, because I'll actually harm myself, but people are like, here, hold my baby. I'm like, I'd love to, but I don't want to be known as the one that cut your child.
It's like an eagle breastplate that comes across her chest.
It's the traditional Wonder Woman, but it's
all brass.
It's all brass. It takes me an hour to polish before I even get into it. So needless to say, I don't wear her much anymore. She was my favorite. Like I of course, not being able to do metal work, working out a pattern on myself and working with the fabric portions of the costume, and then taking those patterns and going through the processes with an actual armorist to fabricate the different layers, because it's triple layers, and finding a way to not weld them together, because if you weld brass, it goes kind of a peacocky color. And I ended up learning about, oh God, what was the adhesive I used? I literally glued the panels together. I glued metal together. JB Weld. Oh my God, it's amazing. Anyways, that was just trying to overcome and personally learn what works and what doesn't work to achieve this illusion of this insane Amazon in armor. For me was just my most memorable, and I still love her to death, and it will be probably the only costume I will never ever let go of. I'll have her mounted at some point in, like, you know, Playboy case.
Like a deer head.
So it will be the one costume play. Yes, it's my armored Wonder Woman, sir.
I think my favorite costume. Why are you texting me?
I'm not texting you.
Oh. If I were a bag of dry dog food, where would I be?
Sorry,
I imagine in the cupboard.
Our friend is watching our 2 dogs. Our fur children.
Cupboard.
You should take video of you sitting in the cupboard with our crown.
Near the fish.
Near the fish.
Okay. I think my favorite costume outside of my Hawkeye costume, just because I love playing Hawkeye on our show, is Red Skull.
Oh, yeah.
I like to do a lot of villain characters. Everybody wants to be, you know, Superman and Captain America and Batman, blah, blah, blah. Which is great if that's your thing, you know, but I like to play villain characters because they have more fun. You know, you don't always have to do the right thing, or if you're, you know, pretending to be that character for people who like that character, you get to have a lot of fun. And I have a Red Skull costume, which is a recreation of an authentic Nazi uniform, an SS military uniform from head to toe. It is terribly uncomfortable to wear because it's completely made of wool. So, especially when you have a lot of conventions in the summer, it's very, very hot. I'm wearing a full latex mask, a Red Skull mask, and then I have makeup and contacts in. So you put on all these layers, you know, you exhaust a lot of heat out of your head, which I can't do with the latex mask on. It doesn't breathe. It's very, very uncomfortable. And then I have a full leather trench coat I sometimes throw on top of that. It is god-awful to wear, but it looks so good.
There's a fun story. The very first time he wore it, we were in San Diego. And
2007.
Was it 2007? Okay, and I was one of the, we try to always costume together, but there are certain costumes that are like this one where I need a handler. I just need a handler. I can't touch anything.
What is a
I can't do
handler?
anything. A handler is a very good friend of yours who will go around and basically take care of all of your things and act as your purse, which right now is my husband. But I mean, I can't open doors with this. I can't even touch my own wig because it's covered in the lubricant that keeps it shiny. So I basically am an invalid.
Well, and for those of you who've done costuming, you know, sometimes when you get a lot of people trying to take photos of you, you get distracted because there's so many people wanting your attention or wanting to take a photo. So a handler can say, okay, to your left, to your right, the guy in the purple, the guy in the red, the guy in the black, and just kind of give you visual or oral cues that, okay, there are pictures over here, or hey, it's time to go. So if you need to go, or if the costumer needs to take a bathroom break, or they need to get something to eat, or they just need a rest because they've been on their feet for an hour and a half in high heels and it's very uncomfortable, they could say, hey, okay, we'll be back in 30 minutes, so no more pictures and whatever. And then the costumer doesn't feel bad about saying no to other people because they like have somewhere to go. Like today we were trying to get to the panel, as you guys saw, and a couple of people said, can we take a picture? And we're like, we're going to a panel, you can take a picture there. And they're like, yeah, okay. So
anyway, so I was acting as my husband's handler, and when he wears Red Skull, he does not talk. In some of the original comics, Red Skull was mute.
well, the jaw doesn't move on the mask.
That
so.
as well too, I just was saying. So I would talk for him if somebody would ask him a question, or he would indicate somebody to go onto his knees for a photo, and I would kind of translate. But we, for the first time, got into this elevator at San Diego Comic-Con in the flagship hotel. We were in the very, very top, so it ended up being a very full elevator. So he goose steps in and clicks his heels and turns around, and I hear from the very back of the elevator, thanks dude, I'm Jewish. And I thought, and they said it in like that kind of tone, and I thought he was kidding.
And here's what she says, that's okay dude, we're just selling ovens.
I thought he was kidding. We're in a con hotel, come on. But yeah, that was one of the few times that I was quick on my feet, and you heard some people in the elevator go, and then you heard others go, oh.
It was kind of awkward. For those of you who don't get the joke, ask your friends next to you who are giggling.
Anyways, so Red Skull, yeah.
Yeah, Red Skull.
Yay.
People seem to dig and respond to him.
We lost our squid person. She had a
We
question.
did. Apparently, we didn't answer her question to her satisfactory.
I want to fry her hat and eat it. It's so tasty.
Calamari.
Don't feed the cosplayer, especially when she's
Dr. Jones.
All right.
Jones
Does
is here.
anybody else have any questions? Anything? Yes, sir.
What's your opinion on the people that do the cardboard outfit? Cardboard.
Funny you should ask. We are those people. Yes, I do a Dark Phoenix, and my husband does Gambit. Actually, we do. We're with a group called the Box Heroes, and they do custom boxes now. They're laser cut. They've come a very long way from just finding refrigerator boxes and painting them. I think they're really creative, and I think there's only so many exact replicas of perfect costumes that you can do. I mean, we've all seen an immensely perfect Superman or a movie-accurate Spider-Man, and yes, there's an art to that. But I think making a costume or a design your own is just as important as getting the details right. You know, translating something into reality, as we all have learned if you are a costumer, doesn't always work. You know, how it works in 2D and how it works on your body is a totally different thing. So half of the fun is learning what works for you and what works in the material and how to blend the materials together. So I think coming up with an idea of like, hey man, let's make these box heroes. So in a lot of ways, you can run around, you have fun. And if they get destroyed, they get destroyed. It's not the end of the world. You cut out another one, you paint it, it's great. But there is such thing as box burn. That is uncomfortable.
Oh man, the chafing is rough.
It is
but
very bad.
The cardboard costumes are just like traditional costumes. We've seen different grades from, okay, someone just grabbed a box off the street and threw it on themselves and was like, hey, I'm like Spider-Man, woo! And
Chewbacca.
yeah,
Was my favorite.
Chewbacca.
Yeah.
And
I
then
saw it at the Dragon Con
we've
parade.
seen levels that are completely, they look like, the cardboard looks like they're plastic or something, like they're completely fabricated out of a different material, and it just completely blows your mind. Like we saw the guy that asked us to participate in his box hero group, Stephen Larkworthy, did an Abe Sapien from Hellboy, and it was amazing. It had jointed fingers and fins, and you would never believe this thing was made out of cardboard. So like some of the artistry that goes into making cardboard costumes, it would just blow your mind. It's kind of like people making Lego costumes. You're like, what the, what? You're like, that's made out of Legos? You gotta be joking. So yeah, we've seen like all different levels of cardboard costumes. Like there's a group of guys in Atlanta that do like Star Wars themed, and they do them as junky as possible because they don't care, but they make them really cool because they did like an AT-AT. They had like 5 guys doing an AT-AT. So like each guy was like a leg, and one guy was like the head and the torso. So I mean, it didn't look like a really polished costume, but just watching it move and everything and how they're like into it, it was really rad. So, you know, people can go and have a lot of fun, and it's just different levels and different things. And what are you trying to do? Are you trying to have fun? Are you trying to like make something that's like state of the art and cutting edge? I mean, I'm all for it, man. I'm all for people taking a new idea or a new medium and trying something new and fun.
Which one's easier to make, the cardboard or the box?
Which is easier to make? Oh Lord. Well, our
I think the
cardboard costumes, Stephen Larkworthy, again, that fella helped us with ours. He did our measurements, and he works for a packaging company. So he makes custom packaging for like shipping guitars or ski poles or
Metroid.
yeah, if you want to ship a Metroid. He'll do get the dimensions of this thing, put it in a computer programming, and the computer cuts out the box, makes it like that. That's what he did. Like he designed these costumes with our measurements, and it has a torso. They have independent legs, independent arms, shoulder pieces, independent head.
At this
really
point,
wild.
it was so much down to a science. They've done it so much that literally all
Yeah.
we had to do is paint them and seal them and then wear them.
And then modify them, you know, to our height and whatnot. And
Do hair.
after you figure out, like, ow, this really hurts where it rubs in a tender spot, you know, you trim that out and make those adjustments, because it's kind of like a stormtrooper outfit. After a couple times you wear it, you're like, ow, that plastic really hurts. So we're gonna trim it and cut it and make it comfortable. But what I did was like I did all the painting and all the detailing work on ours, because when we got them, they were just blank white costumes or white boxes, and then I did all the paint work and Yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. It was really unusual, like compared to a normal costume, because you can't really see very well. And when I had long hair when we initially made mine, I had really long hair, and I would put my hair in like a bun in the back, you know, like a ponytail. And then when I finished painting them, I chopped all my hair off like this. So when we did our first parade with the group, my head wouldn't stay on straight, because when I first tried it out, I was like, oh yeah, it fits perfect. I move around, it's great. We're marching this parade, and we got these big square block hands, so you can't really like grab your head or anything. And my head just kept like, my eye holes kept moving around. I couldn't see anything. I'm like, honey, hit me in the head. She hit me and like knocked my face back straight. So yeah, it could be a little challenging sometimes. Yeah. What was the question?
What day is it again? Where am I?
What year?
Yes.
I was just wondering, how did you get away with wearing your, like, well, not uniform, not that feel that before this?
I think one, having a handler helps, and because we were at San Diego Comic-Con, they're a little bit more tolerant of certain costumes. The only difference in his SS uniform, which was an exact replica from Sideshow. Sideshow has a full statue that's a cloth statue. The other saving graces is that we work a lot with Marvel and do a lot of illustrative modeling, so we know a lot of the people who are around, but 9 times out of 10, people don't tend to hassle us at all. And you've been hassled because of the cross?
I went to a con this August, and I tried to walk into the curated room and said, no, you're not allowed to come in, you're wearing Iron Cross.
Was it a Jewish wedding you were going into? That'd be a bad idea. Oh, okay. No, I have a lot of iron crosses on my uniform, but I have a red armband, and it's an iron cross. It doesn't have a swastika on it. I don't have any overt swastikas on my uniform. I've got a couple that are very small on war medals, but they're very tiny, and they're usually black, and they're very hard to see unless you're very close. But I chose not to go with any of that because I felt the Iron Cross was specific enough. I mean, that's primarily a World War I image, and then World War II, the Nazis went to using swastikas and whatnot for their iconography. But people get it. They see that uniform, it's very distinct. They know, okay, that's a Nazi uniform. That, coupled with the fact that I have a bright red skull mask with these piercing blue eyes, that it's like, wow, that's obviously like some kind of crazy movie or comic book character. So, I mean, with this, you could, you don't have like a crazy fictitious mask on, so you could be like someone from a rock and roll club, or
what I would say in that instance, if obviously, because it's a little easier to tell he's a comic character, because I'm assuming that's from an anime, yes?
Yes.
Okay, not everybody is up on anime as they are mainstream. If there's not a movie made about it, people typically don't always know about it. Thank you so much, that's been bothering me. I would literally at that point, I would explain to them that it is a costume, it's not meant to offend anyone, and if they still give you crap, I would ask to speak to their supervisor, and 9 times out of 10, you'll end up singing karaoke.
Live long and prosper.
Woo!
All right, we're Spot.
At least he's not in red, so he gets to survive this panel.
Yeah, don't wear the red uniform. Don't, whatever they say, don't do it. No, do you have like a smartphone? You have like an iPhone or something like that?
Not Iron Cross.
Yeah. If you got like a phone that you can have pictures on, or you have a friend, just keep pictures of the character on there. And if anybody ever asks you questions, like obviously like an officer of the law says police on their badge, answers the questions and don't give them a hard time. Just say, look, there's a comic book character, there's an anime character, here's what it is, blah, blah, blah. Just to be safe, in case someone gives you trouble. All right. Who's got a question? I got a question.
What is your question?
What's your question?
It's not a question.
Oh, who's got a question? There's a question. Anybody?
I love that
Hey, my Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry I'm coming in here late, so I don't know if it's already been asked, but how do you take this to the next level from being a fan who just wants to do this and you want to go further?
To the next generation.
The next
Well, around the term of like professional cosplayer a lot, and it's not, I don't think there really is such a thing, because cosplayers or people in costume tend to not only make their money from wearing costumes at conventions. Like take Yaya Han for instance, she sells a lot of cosplay accessories.
But she has a table in a booth that's independent of what she does as a costumer and a cosplayer.
So there is little to no way to make 100% of your income wearing a costume and running around, unless you're an actor, and a successful actor at that. How we have kind of transitioned into, starting a cosplay track here at Cincinnati Comic Expo, and how we've kind of ended up invited to these different conventions, is because of our notoriety through Avengers Assemble the series. Like, people who watch the series have become fans and have written and asked for us to come out so they can meet us or take photos of us in costume. So I mean, we're putting out content and writing things, and
and we also do a lot of reference modeling, yes, with a number of different comic book artists across the country. We have a studio set up at home, so we can just set up a backdrop, set up some lights, and we can take as many photos as we need. An artist will draw a little sketch and be like, okay, I need the character to like hold a gun like this and like look at me like that, and then I need the light source to come from here. So we just put that together, snap some pictures, email it to them, because digitally now things are so accessible, and then we end up doing things like this.
It's show and tell.
So this is Miracole and I posed for this, and an artist by the name of John Tyler Christopher drew this for Heroes Con last year, right? Was that last year? It was a charity piece he did last year for Heroes Con. That was us as Rogue and Gambit. We actually had the outfits, so we were able to do the photos in the outfits so he could get all the wrinkles and the folds and all the clothing and whatnot. And a month or so later, you have an original art piece that someone makes of you. And
yeah, and this is how that's how it originally started for me. I'm a huge fan of comic art. I love the media in comics, and not being able to actually draw myself. I wish I could. If I could be a comic artist, I would totally be a comic artist right now. So the ability to help someone in any way that does have the ability to draw, to help create a piece, or to help muse for a piece, whatever, it doesn't matter. I feel involved and therefore kind of fulfilled as being a part of this, because it'll last, it'll be around longer than me, and it's this great piece of art, and as a fan, I love Rogue and Gambit, so to be able to do it with my husband, it totally makes me happy. But yeah, it's little things like this. It's being an illustrative model, it's having your own fan series, which has transitioned to working in films like XMen First Class. I did wardrobe for that. I worked in Fast 5. Costuming and wearing silly costumes and running around has turned into an actual, a real job, where I am a costumer for film and television, and I love my job. I dress people. I never want to be on the other side of the camera. I really don't. I love just being the support person that sits there and legitimately has to help an X-Men use the facilities.
But to answer your question, being a professional cosplayer, I don't really think that doesn't really exist. Like, anybody that we know who does cosplay on top tier level, they do other things for money to make income. And we're fortunate enough to come to shows like this and talk to fine people like yourselves. Oh, a question.
You're double.
The doppelganger here.
Yes, evil twin.
My other question is materials.
Yes.
Fabrics. And when I'm trying to copy, let's just say I want to copy something from a movie.
Mm-hmm. Where to start?
Some stuff I can't find.
Mm-hmm.
Where do I go?
If you're not, go ahead.
Depending on what you're trying to do, some things are specialty items and you can't find the material. It's made just for that show. I'll give you a great example. Battlestar Galactica, the show that was on Sci-Fi they recently had, the Raptor outfits, the green outfits that the pilots would wear, that is a specialty material that was made specifically for that show. And the vendor that created that material had some left over, but had specific rights to that material, and we know other customers who were able to get a hold of some, but that stuff is gone. It is just gone.
There's no way to ask, would you do another gold run? Or anything?
You wouldn't be able to afford it. As an individual costumer, like, I'll give you another example. The yellow in the flight suits from the XMen First Class flight suits, that was made to look like Kevlar. It was a very special and hand-dyed woven silk. And it was only made 100 yards, and those 100 yards were made into all of the flight suits that you see in the movie. You can't even touch it. And if I was to go back to the original vendor who made it, I'm sure there would be an order size limitation, like you'd have to have 10 bolts, and each bolt would cost you an amazing amount of money. So unless you were with a really big fan group that could pool your money to just help that happen, but 9 times out of 10, you just kind of have to scour the internet and find fabric houses. If it's spandex, which in your case is not what you would be looking for. I know Spandex Warehouse is a good place to find like unique stuff. Around you, you should be able to find fabric houses. We have one in Atlanta called Gale K Fabrics. And it tends to be a little bit more expensive, but I tend to be able to find something that will work for what I'm needing to do. Now, if you need to be pointed in a very specific direction, say like Next Generation or things like that, you can actually go to IMDb, which is a movie database, find some costumers on the show, their names, find something that's distinctive, do a search on Facebook. 9 times out of 10, you can find them that way. Introduce yourself, say, hi, I'm a fan of the series and I would really like some input on fabricating, you know, an X, Y, and Z suit. Can you help me, point me in the right direction? Where, you know, and 9 times out of 10, because I've gotten emails like that about things, I'm more than happy to tell you. If I have time, forget it. It's awesome because I love the fan. I'm a fan myself. So why would I not want to help people?
Thanks for coming, guys. And DVD extras, like if you're watching DVD extras, a lot of times they'll have things about wardrobe or costuming. I don't know what time it is.
Ha, we have a minute.
DVD extras have a lot of great supplemental materials, and you can watch that, and they'll sometimes tell you about how they fabricated costumes and whatnot, so those are great resources to go to. But again, whatever city you live in, I imagine most of you guys live here, the greater Cincinnati area, most cities have a fashion district where you can go and find material and whatnot, so just find out where those places are.
You can get lucky at Joann's Fabrics. Most places have Joann's Fabrics, and go and look in their clearance section. Sometimes you will find, you know, just the exact fabric you need. It just happens to be 50 cents a yard. Clarence Thomas. That's about it. But does anybody else have any last questions?
Any last questions? Anybody?
Well, thank you for coming and playing with us.
Bueller?
I'm wearing latex. It's very uncomfortable.
You mean the character or the material?
It's latex. It literally is medical grade latex.
It's like a bicycle tire.
How do you get out of that?
Very slowly.
Or do you use
I have to use a lubricant. It's of the adult variety, and I'm trying to be PC, which is fun to go buy in bulk sizes and not have the vendor snicker at you. It's like, it's for cosplay, really? And they're like, sure, honey, have fun with that. No, to get it, and this is my very first latex costume, so it was a total learning curve for me. The first time we put it on, I've never laughed so hard, and he's never laughed so hard in my life. So it takes me about an hour to get into this, legitimately. So it starts off in the birthday suit. Again, there are little ears here, so I have to be very careful of what I say. The only thing I'm wearing under it is a very push-up bra, because latex squishes everything down. If you want to not look like a boy, you have to use like the god tier level bras of stuffage. The cake is a lie size, bra.
But basically with her hands, you can see her wrists are rather small, and with her hands being wide, she had to put her hands into the fingers.
First off, I have to put a layer on my body of that said lubricant. And then
on your skin, so you can get into the material.
And you have to kind of put some of the inside of the suit as well. and you wiggle and put it on, and again, it traps air. So at some point, it looked like I ate something that I was allergic to because my hands were like...
Yeah, the first time we put this on, her hand blew up, like when you take a medical glove and you blow up into it. All the air was trapped in here. We're like, oh, that's going to be a problem. So you have to like squeeze all the fingers and get the air out. The same thing with the toes, because the toes are all closed and the feet. And if you're not careful, you look like...
It's the most non-sexy thing you have ever seen. Like, I love how shiny it is, and people are drawn to the shiny and to the material. But there's no cute way to get in or out of setsuit. And then to get out of it after, you have to put a layer on top, and that's why people, when they go to take a photo with me, I kind of go, please, just so you know, don't touch me. I'm covered in shiny stuff. And or I'll ruin, somebody will come up in a great costume, and I'm like, I do not want to ruin your costume. Please don't touch me. Please don't be that, don't let me be that person. And then to get out of it, you do it in the shower. So you just turn on the shower, and you soap up the outside, so you remove the layer of lubricant, and then you start to like get out of it. You wash the inside of the suit, and then you proceed to scrub your whole bathroom because it is covered in lubricant.
It's like playing Twister with yourself.
It is. It's comical. So you're bouncing around on one foot trying to get the rest. Yeah, no, it's just not cute.
She just wore this to Dragon Con, and at the end of the day, she took her foot and was moving her foot around like that, and you could hear it squishing around like a bottle. It literally sounded like...
It was so gross, so gross. But it's a good way to lose 5 pounds.
Because as opposed to spandex or traditional materials, this does not breathe. Any moisture or water from sweating collects in the suit until you take it off. It's like a diving suit.
Sexy. All right, well guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed the panel. Please come back next year. Hopefully we'll be here as well. And I would love to be able to show you some stuff and actually get into some practical construction. That'd be amazing. Yay! So.
Yeah, thanks for coming, guys. You want to take a photo? Come on up. Got some stuff you can look at, see what kind of other costumes we do. And thanks for coming. We hope you had a good time.